Got it. All right.
Should be. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're in. Okay, volume's good. Sorry, guys. Trying something new here with my boy Bryce. Bryce, what's up, brother?
I'm doing good.
How you doing, man?
Making it. How about
Man,
yourself?
good, good. You see, man, you see, Bryce saw it firsthand. Like it's like I'm just nonstop. Like I go from like it's from picking you up, and then I have Zoom calls in the car, and it's like right back to do a podcast, and we're gonna go out to have some dinner. You know what I mean? So you see how it is, and how we're rolling over here with the Brotherhood, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, man. I just want to thank you, man. We became fast friends, Bryce and I. We met at Andy Elliott's event, and right away, bro, it was like we hung out, we started talking. We were both putting up our tents together, getting ready for Andy's event, and I just really right away, man, I started connecting with you, and like I said, fast friends. We already hung out at your apartment, and now we're gonna go get some dinner in Hamilton with your baby's mama. I guess that's what we call them nowadays, right? Yeah, you're about to have a baby on Friday, right?
Friday at 8:30 in the morning.
Wow, man.
C-section.
And what's her name gonna be?
Natalina Grace.
Natalina Grace. Love it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, brother. So I just want to thank you, man, for jumping on here. And
Mm-hmm.
I always like to give everybody like the understanding of what the Brotherhood even is. And like so that way I kind of gave it to you, but really the Brotherhood, and I think I told you this before, but everyone listen to this call. I went through a baptism and confirmation about 3 months ago. Hey babe, could you get the dog? Sorry guys, we keep it real here too, so it's totally fine. And so anyway, Bryce, like I know when we discussed, we had talked, like you've always believed in God. You came up from a religious family.
Yeah.
I really, I went to mostly like funerals, weddings, that type of stuff, or church and stuff. I really didn't have that type of upbringing. It was like I went to Catholic school, but it was not the best experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then here I was like 30 years later, the guy that I'm introducing to later, Randy Garn. I met him 10 years ago, and he reminds me so much of you. He's very successful. He's a man of God, and he just kept pushing, like sending me gospel, proverbs, like text message, like all the time. And missionaries would call my house. And anyway, so I finally decided to pull the trigger after I started working with him about a year ago. And yeah, so and then when I went to the church, I got baptized in Utah. um, it was just an amazing experience of all these people that were like trying to help me for like expecting nothing in return. Like they were just like, Nick, you're part of the Brotherhood, and we want to help you with my manager. We want to help you with whatever you're doing. And it was a really amazing experience to see that. So well, on the flight home, I didn't create this to make money. I created this so there was something that for people that were in a spot like I was, who gave up on God, or for someone that just is giving up on life, someone that's in the lows, like someone that's not where they want to be yet, to give them a support group, right? That would like a brotherhood, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
of men and women. So I only bring people on here that are just like really, I believe, are really good people, and that can contribute to the brotherhood. So that's the background of what it is. You know what I mean? And that's how it started. And then it started off, like I said, just as like, something I want to do to help people. And next thing you know, I have 25 people now running their own brotherhoods.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally turned into a global movement. We have schools and studios doing this from all over the United States, and schools in Germany, Australia. And what they're doing is they caught on for them. They're like, Nick, I love it for myself. How do I do this for others? So that's how the whole brotherhood began. And it's literally 3 months. It's over 100 members. Um, yeah, man. And like when I heard your stories of everything you've done, I was like, we got to get you in the brotherhood. And don't let this guy fool you, man. He looks really young. Bryce, how old are you?
30.
And you're like, my God, Nick, this guy looks like he'd be your son. He probably could be. Well, I'm 50, he's 30. But it's like, man, like he is well experienced. We're going to go through his story, all the different things he's doing with his private equity firm, his different companies he owns. It's amazing what you've done by 30, man. It's just honestly amazing. So, I mean, yeah, man, thank you for coming on.
I enjoy it. I enjoy doing these things.
Awesome, man. So tell us a little bit, Bryce, like I don't want to go too far back, but like you were in the Air Force, and then how did you like
International Guard, yeah. So
Okay.
Joined. So I went to nursing school. Funny enough,
Wow.
out of high school. and decided that I hated it. Told my parents that I was going to drop out. I think the lowest grade I had was a 98. And so they were like, absolutely not. And being the rebellious child that I was, I went and joined the Air National Guard to kind of, can't stop me now. And so I did that. And then kind of moving forward, I needed a job because, later on I found out, after the stint of active duty that I had to do after that, whenever I was just doing the traditional guard part of it, I needed a real job. And so I started wholesaling industrial products, lumber predominantly. Um, did decent with that. Um, kind of floated around. Got burnt at one place, left and went to actually a sawmill. Was there for a little while, helped with optimization, learned. I actually taught myself JavaScript so I could,
Wow.
code a little bit. But
Didn't know that.
yeah, and then went from there to started another wholesale, and then kind of learned through all that that industry as a whole was pretty crooked unless you're working for yourself. So
Wow.
wasn't long after that I started my own thing, and did that for a while. Uh, you know, Ended up exiting and going to a company called Keen Group, which was a pretty large frat company at the time. Did logistics there, worked there for a couple years, worked my way up, did the best that I could there, and then I left and went to a company called Atlas, and then helped them kind of get kicked off, get started. They were building a last mile department, and I think I was one of the first 3 or 4 hires there for that, and helped get that kicked off and going. And then from there, they later IPO'd. I think they IPO'd last year for around 4.4. No, it wasn't 4 point something. It's a couple billion. It was 2.8
That's it.
billion. Yeah, something like that. But being there on the ground level, at the very beginning of that was pretty interesting.
Bryce, what I love about you is like the things you're talking about. I exited that. You say it so nonchalantly. You exited for what? I mean, like 50 million. I mean, it's like you're so. I love your demeanor. Like it's like me. I'd be like, dude, I sold that. I sold that for like 200 million. I mean, it's like I love how you're so calm. Like so,
Well,
these guys that are on here, like your first exit, like what was it? I mean, could you give us a roundabout of like what you built it to, and then that was your first exit?
first exit was 4 million. So
Okay,
it
okay,
was
cool though,
yeah.
cool.
I've had some other
Yeah,
exits since then. I don't really want to get into the numbers
no
of it,
problem.
but I've done pretty well with some of the exits. I've not done very well. Other exits I kind of got, I lost. So I mean it wasn't great, but you know, you learn though along the way. I think honestly the exit that I lost money on was probably the one that I learned the most
Of
from.
course, right?
You know,
So wait, so you exited, but you didn't make any money?
No, because I sold it for pennies on the dollar. That was so in January of 2023, I was kidnapped, and that business that I was building at the time, I ended up, we lost substantially on that one because, I mean, I just be honest with you, I could have probably salvaged a lot of it, and maybe who knows,
Yeah.
I'll say, but I just didn't have the willpower or the energy to do anything anymore. I quit for about 6 months. I basically I took completely off and just didn't do anything. Um, Helped start an oil company though right after that in May of 23. And grew it really quick, and then I've done some sand plants, done a few things since then.
Wait, it's so funny because we talked about this. Like, again, I love how calm you are about this type of stuff. Like, people have no idea. Like on here, most of them, they get sand plant. Like, it
Yeah.
sounds like what's a sand plant? And like,
So it sells
yeah,
frac sand in the Permian Basin is where they're located. We're actually opening up a gravel pit right outside of Dallas that also will sell some sand. We'll rail it to the Permian, but yeah. So basically, you harvest sand by mining it. You scoop it up, you filter it, screen it, wash it, and then you take it and you sell it to these frac sites in truckload quantities, and they pump the sand down hole, during the frac process. And I mean, they're going to do on most jobs between 2,000 and 2,500 truckloads, and depending on how how much it costs for you to get things going and things like that. You stand to make a pretty good chunk of change off of it.
And that was,
And just off the trucking. So the trucking itself, you figure if it's a short run, you're going to make about $400 to $450 a truckload will be your gross. Longer run, closer to probably $800, $900 range. Used to be over 1,000, but so you do that math times 2,000 a month, and it does pretty good. And then also too, you think you're going to get between 22 and 24 tons on a truck, and you're selling the sand right now for $18 to $20 a ton, depending on what kind of contract you got, and you're going to net probably on the sand, say $12 a ton. So 12 times 22 to 24 times 2,000, and that's typically what you get per job. You can do around 6 jobs a month from a sand plant, 5 to 6, depending on how good you're running, how fast. So it's some pretty good money in that. If you sit down and do the math.
pretty good money. Is that you're talking to give them a roundabout what a sand plant could do? Not yours, but just an example. Like bust out the calculator, bro.
Yeah.
Again, I love how you talk about these things like they're no big deal, but some of these things are just...
Your average sand plant is going to do about 250 tons an hour. I figure it off of 24 hours a day times 21 days a month, because I include maintenance, downtime, all that kind of stuff. So you're looking at 126,000 tons of sand per month, and that's on the low end. But all right, so times 12, so you're looking at a net profit of about $1.5 million a month. And so we've got a lot of we've invested in several plants across the Permian.
What's the Permian, by the way?
So West Texas.
Okay.
From just say Odessa down to Big Lake, Texas, up to Andrew, Texas, all the way to the New Mexico line down to Pecos. I would say would be like that area, and then up into New Mexico a little bit. That's more considered the Delaware Basin.
Okay.
In New Mexico, but it's still part of the Permian. I mean, ultimately. So.
Wow, man. So so you have sand plants, and why don't we could bring up the speed now? Like
transportation, media. We're involved in some lobbying. I'm on the board of the Oil and Gas Workers Association. Also on the board of the Good Project, which we help drug addicts and homeless people get a second chance.
That's awesome.
Also I'm the founder and the I guess the president, owner, whatever you call it. I don't know if it's really an owner of a nonprofit, but it's called Pure Free, which is we drill free water wells in Nigeria for people, for areas that don't have water, clean drinking water. We also ship cases of water and non-perishable goods so that people have clean food, clean water. Yeah. So, and I guess that's all I'm on right now.
What are you doing right now? Tell us like what projects, like what do you do?
I'm in private equity, so we're currently working on a couple of acquisitions of a few different companies, primarily in the oil and gas space, because that's what I'm most familiar with. Looking at like a part supplier. We've got a couple of oil and gas endeavors. We're involved in solar, media. I've been going in doing a little bit of consulting with some of these younger guys that have a lot of good going for them, but maybe they're missing like one particular thing. They need a little bit of guidance, or try to help them from making the same mistakes I did. Choosing business partners and things like that, because I mean that can make or break you. And I was unfortunate enough to find all the wrong business partners to start with. So
really,
yeah, definitely, through litigation and everything else, we finally severed with as many of them as possible. But definitely you learn more lessons from those guys than anything. But I hate for people to lose their entire company learning a lesson.
So I mean, talk about your 30, and were you just added to Forbes 30 under 30, the most successful people by Forbes magazine?
I mean, I've been in Forbes since 2022, 2021, 2022, something like that. I was on the Forbes Business Council. Uh, yeah, I've been mentioned in NASDAQ, Yahoo Finance a few times. Obviously Forbes. I've got an article written in Forbes, talks about how you can enjoy the here and the now,
Love that.
as far as entrepreneurship. Um, yeah, I've been around Fox, CNN, the whole 9 yards. Been in media. I mean, pretty much you name it. USA Today, they've done articles on me. So
And what was that about, private equity, or was it all the different types of businesses?
at that particular point in time, it was about the holding company that we had, which the private equity. Every move we make now is pretty much it's Yahoo Finance picks it up. You know, Goldman Sachs, they've been reaching out to us, wanting us to help them out on some stuff. So that's pretty neat.
No big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
I just love how like you're so calm. It's like not a big deal. Like you're just so like very calm about it. Like these are
I
like,
mean, it is what it is. You can get excited about it,
yeah.
and we do, and that's part of that article that I wrote for Forbes was, we celebrate the small wins because small wins turn into big wins. Most of your life's not made up of big wins. It's made up of little bitty wins and then by the end of it, you're successful. You're not, most people don't have that just is one huge success that makes them successful. It's a line of small wins that people don't even, they go pretty much unnoticed until all of a sudden everybody looks up and they're like, hey, this guy's successful. How did he get here? And you go and you look and it was a bunch of small incremental wins that got him to that point. And, occasionally they, you have a few small wins, then a big win, it's a few small wins, another big win. But usually it's, just incremental small wins.
So tell us about, like, when you said like some of the biggest mistakes you made. Like you said, the partners, like, yeah, I mean, what were some of the biggest mistakes you
I
think
was
you made?
too eager because I wanted to be successful, wanted to get into, I wanted to be in the oil and gas space, I wanted to be successful. So, I mean, I aligned myself and associated myself with the first partner that would, that would pop up and, and like I said, that the first one I had, the oil and gas, um, you know, hung out with her family, you know, got real close to them, felt like this, that, and the other. Um, Probably, one of the biggest mistakes of my life was trusting that person. I don't have a great relationship even now with my brother due to that particular person, and some of the things that he said and done and the way that he's acted. My brother he's got the entrepreneurial spirit, but he doesn't do well under pressure, and it just is what it is. But he he can't handle whenever people have problems against him or something to say to him that whatever this, that, and the other. And so that particular person was pretty well responsible for ruining the relationship with my brother. Or
Yep.
I did my own. I helped by bringing him around. So I made my own mistakes there too. And at that particular point in my life too, I was more of a salesman than I was an entrepreneur or businessman, and I wanted everyone to like me. So I would get excited about particular things that were happening or that I felt like were happening, and I'd tell him about them because I was excited, and then they may not work out the way that I thought they were going to, and then after a certain period of time, it just kind of looks like that you're just making things up because nothing ever seemed to work out. But little did I know it was because of the people that I aligned myself with, and so I mean, that's number one. That's the biggest. The number two would be being dishonest. I mean, you know, a lot of times salespeople they get rightfully so, they get a rap for being dishonest
Yep.
or stretching the truth, which is just the same as being dishonest. But you can still sell people by telling them the truth and being honest.
Yep.
You can just you can't do that if you don't believe in what you're selling. And so that's something that I learned was, don't sell something that you don't believe in. You don't, if you believe in it and you're, sincere about it, people are more apt to buy, and you don't have to go stretch the truth. You don't have to go be dishonest. And, that would be number two. Then number three would be, just bet on yourself.
Yep.
You know, against all odds. I mean, even in there's going to come points, and I had a video that actually was posted on my account the other day, and you're gonna hit walls, and then I use the analogy of there's like basically 10 barriers. There may be more, there may be less, who knows? But like first two, three, four barriers, you always seem to just you plow through them. Obstacles that hit you,
Yep.
you're excited, you're gung ho, you're passionate, you just blast through them. Fourth, fifth, sixth hit, your family, they start, hey, it shouldn't be this difficult. Like, why are you struggling so bad with this? Your significant other, your friends, they're all starting to doubt, not you, but that what you're doing is worth all the headache that you're going through. And so, they're not out to hurt you. They're not out to let you down. They want to see what's best for you. But a lot of people and a lot of average people, not that there's anything wrong with average people, but a lot of average people, they don't have the ability to see the bigger goal at the end of it. They don't have the ability to keep their eye on, what's the end goal? What does it do for not just humanity, society, but like what does it do for the entire populace of the free world or of the world in general? What am I able to do if I win? It's not even so much like, what can I do for myself? It's what can I do for everyone else if I win? And so whenever whenever they're not able to see that, they feel like you should just stop, get a regular job, do regular things. But if you're called to do more, and that's on a spiritual level, if you're called to do more, why would you settle for less? If God's got a higher calling for you, why would you settle for mediocrity? So, that's whenever things start getting the toughest. You think of it like a mountain. You're on your seventh, eighth, ninth wall, barrier, trial, tribulation, whatever you want to call it, and you just don't think you can go another step, but you got to press forward, take that next baby step, take that next, go to that next level, climb that next ledge, because what you don't realize is because of the clouds is that you're right there at the peak. Like you're at 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, you're right there at the peak, and then it's downhill. Then you can just ride the roller coaster at that point. And a lot of times, and I've been guilty of it myself, get discouraged, let that, that seed of doubt be planted into your mind, and then, water it daily with doubt of your own. And before you know it, you give up on something that might have been a life-changing opportunity. And if you just press forward and, not allow any kind of seeds of doubt to get in, any kind of, anything that takes your mind off the end goal, then you would have been successful and, moved forward.
I love when you talk about seeds of doubt. I didn't know what a seed of doubt was, so I was like 40. So that's a good one. Understanding seeds of doubt.
Well, there's seeds of anything,
right?
Seeds of doubt, seeds of prosperity. And that's why it's so important to be careful with what you say.
Yep.
Not even just to yourself, or not even just to other people, but in your own mind to yourself, because the tongue is a very powerful thing. It's a very powerful weapon. Even what you speak to your mind, what you speak to yourself is what ends up happening. So if I tell myself I can't do it, then I can't do it. That is what becomes reality. Whatever you speak, if I say to myself I'm gonna do this, then that becomes reality. Marcus Aurelius was talking about the obstacle becomes the path. If you have the right mindset whenever you reach that obstacle, and you're thankful for the lesson that obstacle taught you, and then you just keep pressing forward, then you can continue the path. If you get to that obstacle and then you're like, man, this shouldn't be this hard. Why do I keep getting so many obstacles? Then you may as well build your house there. That's as far as you're ever going to get.
Yep.
And so, it's really important to not just that, but the people that you surround yourself with too. They're going to speak, either life or death on you. Whether if you've got like-minded people around you that are constantly speaking, positivity and uplifting thoughts and motivation to you, you're going to constantly, and not only just from that positive affirmation, but just from the fact of you do not want to disappoint or to let them down because you know that they believe in you. You have someone that believes in you that's cheering for you. You're gonna go farther than you would as opposed to if you had somebody or a group of people that they don't understand what you're doing. You know, they're there for you, but they just really don't understand why you keep, crashing and burning.
Yep.
Why does it seem like it's so hard for you to just get the breakthrough and succeed? That whenever that happens, you're not ever gonna make it. That saying, show me your 5 closest friends, I'll show you your future. You know, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, 100%.
If you are if you have 5 billionaires that you hang out with,
You'll be the sixth.
and you'll be the sixth. If you have five
Sorry.
homeless people that you hang out with, you'll be the sixth.
Yep.
It's always that way. You have five, and that's why I like to hang out with these younger guys. Which I mean, I'm young myself, but
Yeah.
like young entrepreneurs that are in their one of them, he's doing millions of dollars a month, 19 years old, working with me. Several of them are late or not late, but early 20s, 20, 21, 22 years old. I love that they're so hungry because being around them makes me hungry. I kind of got to a point of just complacency,
Yeah.
really. Didn't really have a whole lot of drive. Don't really have to worry about anything. My bills are going to be paid, and I'm good, but I could be doing more. So, why wasn't I doing more? Well, because I'd lost that drive, but I surround myself with these people. And all of a sudden now, I've got that drive again. I'm hungry again. I'm, achieving even more than what I thought was possible. We're hosting soon the rally for President Trump.
Love it.
Or not a rally, but it's a fundraiser.
Yep.
But he'll be present, should be present there. We're still working with his team to get the exact date that he'll be available so we can work all that out. But these are things that 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, if you would have told that version of me, hey, this is where you're going, the path to get here, I might have thought that, wow, I'm going to be killing it. And little did I know that there was going to be a lot of low points. There's going to be a lot of valleys, a lot of, like really tough trials that to get to that
Yeah.
point. And had I known all that to begin with, I probably would have been a little bit discouraged. And that's why we don't know what the path is ahead of us. We just have to take it as it comes.
Yeah. What I love about it too, man, is like so you've had 3 9-figure exits. Is that correct? Or will you talk about that or no? So, okay, sorry. 2.
Really, yeah, but I mean, the company is definitely 9-figure. They definitely have done 9 figures.
And so like it's kind of crazy. So you're 30 years old, and a couple of days ago we were talking up in your apartment or one of your apartments, and you have like all these houses all over the world, right?
Oh, yeah, that's through the real estate company. So we've got a pretty extensive real estate portfolio that we've built through both construction and then acquisition. So it's giving me access to a lot of different places that might not have been possible. Really, if we could, are you going to clip this up?
Probably not.
Okay. Yeah, let's not talk about where every place is.
Yeah, just you have several properties, but my question was for this was that you say obviously you've done these crazy exits, right?
Yeah.
And you said something to me, I was just like, you're like, Nick, man, sometimes it's hard. Like I don't, to motivate myself, like I don't need to work. Like
No.
it's like you're 30 years old, you could be done forever. Like I mean, it's like I don't think a lot of people even understand. Like that sounds like, oh, what's the big deal? That's the big deal. It's like you have to I mean, you don't have to work. You don't need to work.
I was
mean,
literally sleeping on a yacht on the Mediterranean 3 weeks ago. And one of the guys that was with me came in and woke me up. They're like, dude, we're on a yacht. I'm like, great. I'm going back to sleep. And it's just like, I could do that every day if I wanted to.
Right.
But for what? Like, that would be a waste of talent and ability that God's given me.
Yep.
And not only that, but and I've talked about this before. We're not, what we make on this earth is not ours.
I love when you said this. It was good.
We don't, God gives us things. He gives us talents. He gives us abilities, and he expects us to use them, for the greater good of the kingdom.
Yep.
And not only that, but the money that he gives us, it's like the parable of the talents. I could go bury the talent and then dig it back up and I'll bring back another one. I could, go double the talent, and that's great. or I can go invest it and make way more money off the talent and do way more good for the kingdom. Which one do you want to be?
Yep.
I want to be the one that's doing the full capacity. I want to, because it's not even my money. It's not, you don't have money.
Yeah,
We don't,
I love
any
it.
of us
Yeah.
have money. The money that we have was a blessing and a gift from God. And what we do with his money, like we have a fiduciary responsibility with God's money to impact his kingdom as positively as possible. And if we do anything less than that, then I don't think, whenever we get to heaven, we'll be blessed for it.
Mhm.
If we even get to heaven, I think that people that aren't looking to further his kingdom, there's a great likelihood they're probably not making it.
Yep.
That for whatever reason they've got something that's going to keep them out. Whether it be within their heart, some um, you know, basically they're elevating themselves above God, maybe got a little higher sense of self-worth, or maybe even they idolize their money over God, what have it. Money's nothing if without doing what could further benefit the kingdom.
Love
And
it.
so that's the biggest thing. And I know that a lot of people would probably think that that's, a cliche to say for somebody that's got enough money to, kind of just do whatever they want to do. But at the same time, you don't get to that point with a mindset of, let me just hold on to it. Let me just hug it. No, you get into it by, knowing that, hey, God has blessed me with a gift, a talent, and then betting on yourself. Bet on yourself because you know your strengths and your weaknesses better than anyone else. So bet on your strengths and bring people along that cover your weaknesses, and go do as much as you can, and then give back, donate. Try to build up the kingdom as much as you possibly can. Live a life that people want to emulate, because that's the biggest thing. You can talk the talk, but do you walk the walk? And that's the number one thing. Try to be someone that other people want to emulate.
Love that, man. I have three last questions for you. They're like rapid fire. So there's to throw you off a little bit, see if I can catch you. All right. So first one will be top three books that people need to read. They want to get better in life. What are the top three books you recommend?
I like Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Love it.
I gotta go back and I gotta think of what this other one was, but Art of War is good.
Love it.
Uh,
That's Trump's favorite book.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you what the last one is, and it's been so long since I read it. I just know that Mad Dog Mattis.
Huh. Never heard that. What's it called?
Mad Dog Mattis was the one that wrote it. General Mad Dog Mattis, and it was a very good book.
I gotta check that one out.
No better friend, no worse enemy.
Oh, I like that. No better friend, no worse enemy. Mad Dog Madness. Okay, yeah. Good. I never heard that one before.
He said always enter a room with a smile, but have a plan to kill everyone there.
That's you.
If you need to. Yep.
It's like you're so calm and everything, but you're a killer, man. That's like that's why I said it's like I love the demeanor. It's like you're so calm, but you're like destroying it in business. I mean, it's like I love
trying
that.
to.
Yeah,
we do. And we flipped a lot of businesses. That's where the majority of our success. Built a few, but we're real good at flipping them.
Love that.
Flipping a few right now. We've 8x one of them's revenue in 3 months, so that's always cool. And just to see that type of change, and
very cool.
Most important thing is the culture. So you get the culture change, the rest of it.
When I picked you up, you told me like you're one of the companies you took over. You had to get rid of some people. You're like the culture's not where it needs to be, and you were telling me about this a couple of days ago before it happened. You're like this week is
I can tell within 10 minutes.
Wow.
If we're going to be able to make it. Now, a lot of times sometimes people surprise you. They'll actually step up whenever they realize that they've got to. But like I can tell you within 10 minutes whether or not the culture needs a shift or not. It's going to have a paradigm shift or what have you. And typically within 10 minutes, I'm either okay, I got all I need, or
love
not.
it.
They were talking about today. One of them was asking me to go to the warehouse or go to the office and to sit down with certain ones and talk to them. I'm like, if they can't get better for themselves, me talking to them is not going to get them any better. So I'm just to the point now where it's just, you know, hey, I want you to do better. I want you to succeed. I wish you nothing but the best. You know, you're just not going to do it here. So if you can't get it together, you got about 30 days. If you can't get it together, we've given these people 3 months. So it's time to, you know, pursue other options. Wish you the best.
Well, it's funny, man, because I said, like, you know, like you're like an old soul, like you're 30, but I feel like I'm talking to something like my older brother. It's the weirdest thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right? Because it's like, but you also explained like you came from hard work, like you were running
Yeah.
restaurants from your
Well, yeah,
family.
my grandmother, I grew up in the restaurant business, not so much necessarily running it. My grandmother would allow me to have the perception that I was running it, which was great. She was absolutely running it. You know, I told, you know, at 13, she let me do the Cisco order,
Yeah,
which I did nothing in hindsight. Like I did absolutely nothing. She did the whole order, but she let me feel like I had done the order.
she sounds smart.
And so for me, it was like, oh, I love this. Like I love being in charge, you know?
Yeah.
And I did nothing. She literally told me everything to do. And we just did exactly what she said, did the entire process the way she said it, and wrote the exact numbers and quantities that she said, but I felt like I did it. And that was
It's
all that
good.
mattered. And so, you know, my grandmother, she was, and both my grandmothers, they were both in different ways, they were great and supporting and loving. You know, my dad's mom, she unfortunately she had Alzheimer's by the time I was old enough to really like you know, to kind of get into what I was going to do with the
Yep.
rest of my life type thought process. At younger though, she was the one that we got dropped off with every morning. She'd take us to school.
Yep.
Uh, she'd have us doing crossword puzzles and Sudoku and
Wow.
you know things like that. And then she'd come and pick us up from school until my parents got off of work. And then as I got into high school, you know, we had cows that you know we milked, and then
Wow.
so my dad one summer, my brother and I, we went through 14 gallons of milk a week because we didn't drink sodas, we didn't drink, you know, things like that.
Yep.
And so, like our favorite beverage was just a cold glass of
I
milk.
used to love cold milk.
And so, my dad, after that summer, he said, "Next summer we will not have this problem." And so he bought a Jersey cow, and it turned into, I think, you know, we probably had hundreds of cows at this point, and you know, we raised chickens, hogs, the whole 9 yards. Had them butchered, you know, ourselves, filled the freezers up, uh, you know, scalded and done our own chickens, and you know, so it was a different. A lot of people even older than me didn't ever grow up like that. That grew up in city life, so it's you know, completely different culture. You know, slinging hay bales, uh, at the farm up the street or up the road, you know, throwing hay bales and stacking hay in the
I
hay
did. I
barn.
baled hay once.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Ooh, man, it was fun.
Yeah,
My best friend from high school, like he asked me, I slept over his house, and he's like, the one thing is, if you sleep over, we have to bale hay in the morning. First time I did it once. That was awesome. I have one more question for you, brother. Because I think really, I know then we have to go eat something. We're gonna go meet your girl, and we're gonna have some dinner with our wives and stuff. So that's gonna be fun.
absolutely.
Um, mentors, right? Could you tell us about like the people that mentored you to get where you are? Like who do you consider like your top?
Dr. Colby Jubenville is one of my main. He's still a mentor of mine. Talk to him regularly.
And
Nathan,
where's he from? The first one.
he's from Nashville. He's originally from Mobile, lives in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
He is a professor at Middle Tennessee State University. He's also a consultant. But the Jubenville School of Business is his school of
Okay.
business. The next one would be like Nathan Roberts. Um, you know, he was at Goldman Sachs. He was at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, I think. Maybe not Bank of America, but for sure Wells Fargo. Um, you know, rich history in banking and in investment banking. You know, worked in family offices, things like that. Very, very intelligent guy. Helped me out a lot. Um, Another one would be Terry Glover. Um, he is he owns a frac company
Okay.
in the oil and gas space. Um, Real big Christian, real big, you know, probably probably one of the most genuinely nice people that you've ever met in your life.
Wow.
Um, and you know, almost so my dad is amazing. I've got a great, you know, great parents, great raising, great upbringing. Terry's probably one of the closest to like if I had a second dad.
Wow.
He's in his late 60s. My dad's in his early 60s. But as far as like somebody that I can call up at any point in time and he'd be there for me, I feel like he's definitely that person. And then if I had a close second would be Darren Simmons, and he lives in Indiana. He owns Global Construction Transport, and same type of way. I mean, you know, he and his wife, Miss Denise, they're two of the most great people I've ever met.
Love it.
So,
How about this? How about like for anyone that's younger, that's kind of, or younger, or even someone they know that's struggling? Like like the Brotherhood is all, like not everyone's just making all kinds of money and successful. Like there's a lot of people that are at that maybe tipping point, or they're struggling through something, whether it's drugs, whether it's their marriage, whether it's finances, right?
mhm.
For those people, like any message you have for them?
I would work on my pies at any. I mean, and this is regardless. This is even
Yep.
if you're not at your tipping point.
Yep.
But your pies are your physical, your intellectual, your emotional, your spiritual self.
Say it one more time.
Your
Pies.
pies.
Yep.
Your physical,
Okay.
intellectual, emotional, spiritual.
Love that.
So, uh, you know, if you're not doing active things, you know, working out daily, things like that, your body can, you know, as it goes into obesity and health problems start to develop. You also get depressed.
Mhm.
If you're not doing things that are intellectually stimulating, then same. I mean,
Yep.
you know, those things kind of help stave off depression. You know, if you're not constantly doing things to to improve your emotional stability and well-being, you know, then you're gonna find yourself falling short. And then obviously the most important of all the four would be your spiritual, you know, and I don't tell people what to believe or who to believe or whatever, but you know, I feel like a close connection to God, you know, understanding that He is, you know, there for you. He's listening even when you feel like He's far away.
Mhm.
I saw a thing the other day and it really resonated with me, and it was talking about God speaking to to his children and things like that. And it was talking about how whenever my child is still, and I've got a child right now, so that's why it really resonated.
Mhm.
It's still in her mother's womb right now. Uh, you can, as a parent, there's studies that show that fathers talking to their child while they're in the womb, whenever the baby comes out, their voice soothes them because it's something that they recognize from whenever they were still within the womb. But if the father doesn't talk to them as much, then it doesn't have as great of an effect. Obviously it's still their dad. It's not saying that they have a greater connection, but they're able to hear within the womb, but it may sound muffled, like way far off. Well, the same way happens whenever, you know, we're out in the world, we're not living for Christ and things like that. He talks to us and his
100%.
voice is present, but it just seems far off. It seems like it's in a completely different world than what we're in right now. Like we haven't, but then once we're born into the world, then we can actually hear that direct voice from our Father. You know, once my child is here on Friday, she'll be able to hear my voice directly for the first time. Once we're born again in salvation, we're able to talk directly to the Father. And I think that that's very important for anybody that any walk of life, whether you're in entrepreneurship,
Yep.
you're a bagger at Walmart. I think that that relationship with God is super important.
I love that, man. And I really never understood it. It took me a long time to understand the importance of that one. Like it really, like when you're a man of God versus being a natural man, it's like a big difference. Bryce, man, thank you for jumping on the Brotherhood podcast.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, man, that was you're a really great time. We're gonna bring you back again, because
Alright.
I know you don't like to do live interviews, but I got to bring you back for a live one with the whole group.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I think we'll do that maybe the next month or something like that.
sure.
But yeah, brother, any last words do you want to give to the Brotherhood?
No, just work on your pies and be faithful to the word. And, it won't steer you wrong. I can promise you that.
Any excited about the baby on Friday?
super excited. Number 4.
Number 4. Awesome,
Yeah,
man.
be fruitful and multiply. I took that one.
I love it. All right, brother. Well, listen, thank you so much, brother. And thanks everybody for watching and listening in. And Bryce, if anybody wants to reach out to you, Instagram, email, what is the,
Yeah, SBRYCE_Mathis MATHIS on everything. So
awesome.
yeah, just hit me up.
Thank
Give
you,
me a
Bryce.
follow. Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother. I love he calls me sir. It's so nice. Thanks, dude. That's not the recording.